We'd like to welcome each and every individual to Voices of Integrity podcast with young men. Um, Voices of Integrity is really telling groups of people like young men things that you don't want to hear. And so, having three sons, three grandsons, working with a lot of young men over the years, getting young men to go ahead and take ownership, and getting young men not to be self-righteous, getting young men to be humble and thankful. It's a hard thing. It's a really, really hard thing. And so, now that I'm 60, I just don't remember when I work with guys who are, I don't know, 17 to 20, or guys from 21 to 25, or 26 to 30, or 30 to 40. I don't know. I just don't remember. I just don't remember having the mindset that the young men do. I feel bad for them. I do. I just like, you guys are going to struggle. You're going to struggle so much in your marriages. You're going to struggle so much in your economic engine. You're just going to struggle. Questions?
Why do you say that?
If I say young men are just so clueless, they're just, this year is a year where I'm not connecting dots. Do you know why I'm not connecting dots, Luke?
So others have to?
I want to know what it feels like to be clueless. To be stupid. Like, I want to be normal. I want to feel like I'm normal. Like, you know what? Not connecting that dot. You know what? Don't know. Like, there's a trigger for me. It's an interesting trigger. I was 55 years old. And, well, let's go back. This will be an interesting one. And again, if you guys, you might want to come, like, do you think it's important to come prepared, Luke? No, I didn't think so.
Obviously not.
Right. Do you think that, women, it's interesting because Lou Costival, we ought to have him on here once. He went ahead and said to a young man once, he was probably in his 20s, and he had a nice truck and good looking guy, I guess. And he gets out of his truck and talks to Lou, and Lou says, I think his name was John. And he's like, John, the ladies probably like you, don't they? And John's like puffing up his chest. He's like, you got a nice truck, and you got a nice, you're good looking guy. And John's like, and he's like, that's all about ready to change. John's like, what? He's like, yeah, teenage girls, they like good looking guys with good trucks. But when women get into their 20s, it's totally different. They're just looking for economic engine. They're looking for an economic engine. They're looking to go ahead and can you support them so they can either stay at home and have children, or they can find a job that they like doing and they enjoy doing, and they can do. They don't want to do something they don't want to do. So my 7 kids say to me, Dad, you're never a child. You're never a teenager. And I wouldn't disagree with him. I would not disagree with him. So if I go down this rabbit hole, we're not, you guys won't have anything else. But that sounds like you guys don't really care. Weird, but it's not. I'll give you guys one last chance, then I'll go down the rabbit hole. All right, here we go. So imagine you're 18 years old and you see the most attractive woman, another 18-year-old that you've ever seen in your life. You just look at her and you go, holy cow, she's going to be my wife someday. Like, man, I don't know what it is about her. It's like love at first sight. Didn't happen. I mean, it did happen like that, but then there was stuff. Maybe we'll get into the stuff later. Anyways, we'll fast forward and, so I take her in my really nice, 1977 Pontiac Firebird baby blue spoiler with a T-top, and the Firebird on the front. I mean, this thing, holy cow, did this attract the girls? Man, did they like this car. Anyways, so I took her to Faith Baptist Bible College. And so on the, college days for, teens that are looking to go to college. And so I take her there and we meet there and, don't connect or anything like that because I was shy and didn't have the internet back then. And so this would have been 42 years ago. And lo and behold, she's on campus. I'm like, whoa, Rosanna, Mia. And since she lived in the area, we were about 5 hours away. We were in Illinois. And so, so there needed to be some way to get her back and forth. She didn't have a car. I had a car. And so, her pastor is the one, her pastor knew my dad. My dad's a pastor, so they knew each other. And so I took her home, over the, holidays and breaks and stuff like that, the first year of college. So she and I became very close friends. We were like brother and sister. Started a couple of my own businesses. I worked at Four Sons as a gas station. And so I was working there, working my way through college. I started a convenience store in my dorm. So it was guys' dorms, girls' dorms. It was a private college. And so you couldn't go into the girls' dorms. Girls couldn't go into the guys' dorms. But because I had a car, I was pretty popular. Like most of them didn't have cars. I had cars. And so the girls, and having a really nice car too, there were a lot of girls that were interested in hanging out with me. And Rosanna was one of those girls. But there was something special about her, but no romantic stuff. It was just really cool friendship. And I like playing basketball. And there was a Saturday where I was playing basketball and Rosanna hurt her ankle. And she was drawn to me. Well, she first said she fell in love with my car, which I'm a pragmatic guy. So you know what? It's fine. But she hurt her ankle and she was in the emergency, needed to be taken to the emergency room. So I took her there and she's like, hey, you got to go play basketball. I'll get another ride. I'm like, no, I'm not going to leave you here. And again, It wasn't anything romantic. It was just, it's the right thing to do. Like, hello, like she's a friend. And then I started a convenience store over in her dorm, two of the women's dorms. That's when I found out she wasn't so good with money because I'm like, go to collect the money. So she gets a cut of it. I buy it all. I equip it all. I ship it all. I make sure her convenience store is shot, all stocked. I'm like, go to get the money from her and she gets a percentage of it. I'm like, where is the money? And she's like, well, you know, it's gone. I said, what do you mean it's gone? She's like, how's it gone? And she's like, well, bought pizza for the dorm. I was like, why would you do that? Like, this is not a business expense. Well, they all wanted to, all the girls in the dorm wanted to go ahead. And so I'm buying pizza for the whole dorm. It's like, what? Like, this is not an approved business expense. Like, this is not. This is crazy. This is insane. Oh, I learned some other things. In that too. So then, I had a convenience store. I was stocked to the hilt. I had hundreds of, pop or, bottles and I had snacks and I had everything. It was stocked. And so people would come to my dorm, and then I had two divisions over in the girls' dorm. So I was known on campus like the king of, the convenience store. And then some goofball upstairs, he decides he's going to compete against me. It's like, what? Do you not understand? This is not good. And so I didn't take him serious because he didn't have the inventory. He didn't have the systems. He didn't have anything. Like, he didn't have anything like I did. Another sidebar. I'm avoiding the real story. We'll come back and pick that up some other time. But so, like, we're in a Bible college. This is where my dad graduated from college. And so they produce, again, Faith Baptist Bible College. You know anybody from Faith? Pass this podcast along to them. Anyways. And so then people started stealing from me. Like it was, honor system. You come in, you pick up all your stuff that you have. You pick up all your stuff you have. And, and then you pay. Like, I'm not going to man this store. I'm not making that much money. And so it's honor system. And they start stealing from me. Like, what? Like, you're stealing from me? Like, what are you thinking? Like, this is crazy. I'm balancing the books and going through. Nobody told me how to do this. Like, I just knew. One of the advantages of being a driver, I guess. And analytics. I don't know. Anyways. And so I was whining to Daryl Gomat, my RA, my resident advisor. I guess I was whining and complaining. I'm ticked. I'm like upset. Like, my feelings matter. Like, hello, like, I'm 18 years old and I'm trying to pay for my way through college. I have a job. I have my own business. I'm 18 years old. I set up 2 divisions in the girls' dorms. I'm making it happen. And people are stealing. It's a Bible college, for crying out loud. Like, if you're a pastor, listen to this. You know what I'm talking about because you probably went to Bible college and you see what happens. It's like, I'm like, what in the world? I can't believe they're stealing from me. And I'll never forget what Daryl Gomat said to me. I guess I was whining a lot, but I'm 18 years old, right? Like, people stealing. It's a Bible college. Did I say it's a Bible college? Like, what's up with this? And he's like, Mark, and he shakes his head in disgust. He's like, it's a cost of doing business. And if you can't go ahead and handle it, then get out of business. I'm tired of your whining. And I'm like, he's right. See, this is the advantage of being socially autistic. You don't get defensive. You don't get angry. You just go, makes sense. So I'm like, so I stopped the whining. This is for men. If you're a big feeler, if you're one of those guys that feelings are as important, like, somebody pass this along to my brother Ken. He went to Faith Baptist Bible College too, graduated, then he went to seminary. This might explain a lot. I'm just saying. So pass this along to Ken. He'll get a kick out of it, I'm sure. Like, so, like, if feelings are important, it's like, oh my gracious, my feelings have been hurt. No, business people don't whine. Daryl Gomez, that advice was better. I'm more appreciative of Daryl than I have my 3 degrees in business, my bachelor's in finance, bachelor's in management, bachelor's in marketing. That advice was the best advice. It was unbelievable. Just like, okay, so stop your whining and feelings, men, girls. Like, come on, like, man up. You want me to man up? You want me just to be a man? Oh, no, don't do that. Just be a wuss. Anyways, so I'm like, okay, stop your whining, Mark, fix it. So I'm like, what can I do? So then what I did is I went ahead and made a sign and I posted it. So people just come into my dorm and they just buy it and leave. And sometimes I was there, sometimes I wasn't there. I actually had credit. I had Curtis. He had a huge, like it was like at a bar or something where you could ring up. Like if you didn't want to do it at, you could. I had people that I owed money to me and everything. It was quite an operation. Like, and so it was quite an operation. I mean, it was pretty impressive. I thought I might get in trouble, but the dean of the college came and visited once, and he said, "I heard you have quite an operation." And I showed him around and everything. It was pretty interesting. Anyways, and so I put a sign up and I said, "Did you come to Bible school? Did you come to Bible or Bible college to study to become a pastor and a missionary and steal from me?" See, when you're feeling, guys, when you have all these feelings, your brain stops working and you just become a victim. He's stealing from me. This is so miserable. I can't believe she did that to me. I can't believe this is death. Oh my gracious, this is so. Anyways, so it's just so, and it worked. It worked. I mean, they stopped stealing from him. Like, I am a genius business guy. Like, I stopped the stealing, and it worked for, I don't know, a few weeks until they tore the sign down. I'm like, really? You're gonna tear my sign down too? Like, wow. Like, you gotta be kidding. Anyways, so we, went through some of those, so many lessons. We could have many podcasts. Does this go into the young men, podcast for young men, or does it go in for businesses? I don't know. Let's keep it in the young men one. But there's a lot of business stuff. I could go back in to when I was 12 years old too, but we won't. That's another podcast for another time. So anyway, I forget his last name, but his first name was Alan. He started competing against me. I'm like, hey, dude, you don't compete against me. Like, you don't do that. Like, what's wrong with you? And he started his competition. During finals week. Like, I'm like, what? And so there was a price war on the pop, like on the soda, whatever you want to call it. Depends if you're from Michigan or Wisconsin or whatever, pop soda. And there was a price war, and he started driving it down. And I'm like, you got to be kidding. So he'd drop it, then I'd drop it, then he'd drop it, then I'd drop it. And I'm like, you got to be kidding. He's competing on price. So, so some of the guys in the dorms, I'm getting killed here. What are we going to do? Like, you can't go beat him up. I mean, you could, I guess, if you can steal on Bible campuses. Why can't you, bring in some force or something? No, I'm just joking. And so what I did is I devised a plan. I'm like, okay, study the situation. So this guy doesn't have anything close to the inventory I do. So the price wars got so low. It was like the price was so low that it was like at cost or below cost. He wasn't making any money and I wasn't making any money. This is an issue if you're in business. I think he probably had ego issues. He was probably jealous of me. I get it. That happens a lot today, even. A whole lot. Oh, another podcast for another time. Anyways, so I'm like, So I went ahead and had tons of inventory. I mean, when Pop went on sale, because I just got it through the normal distribution, just through stores. When it went on sale, I'd buy hundreds. I'd go carload after carload after carload after carload. I'd stock up when it went on sale, so my profit margins. And Pop wasn't on sale at that point. And so what I did is I sent a couple of my guys up from the lower dorm to the upper dorm, and I had him buy out all his inventory. Now, he didn't make any money because it was so low. And I took all his inventory, bought out, and then took it down to my shop. And then I bumped the prices back up where they should have been so we could all make money. Well, he couldn't make money because he didn't have any inventory. So, it's like we talked to a guy yesterday. He said that, that went ahead and said that he had competition that was pricing him too low. He's like, it's ridiculous. Anyways, there's a lot of solutions I have for him. So, questions on that?
Wouldn't it been better just to go up and talk with the guy and say, I'm not trying to compete against you. Let's raise our prices so we can make money.
That's illegal.
Huh?
It's illegal.
I think stealing is too.
Wait, nobody stole from him.
Right.
If you can steal on a college campus, you could do that on a college
Well,
Bible.
maybe in the Amish world you can. Just because somebody does something to you doesn't mean you can do it back to them. Oh, Kenny was referring to stealing. Yeah, no, in business, if you run an integrous business, if you have integrity, you're at a big disadvantage because you're competing against people. So there's other stories that I could go ahead and share. When somebody's cheating, somebody's stealing, somebody's doing things that are illegal, doing things that are moral, how do you compete against that? I know how to do that, and you don't give up. So me buying out his inventory wasn't illegal. You could buy out the inventory. I mean, somebody can say, is it ethical? I mean, and you're in business to make money. So yeah, you can't collude with other people to set prices. It's price fixing. Would have we gone to prison? Probably not. But yeah, you can't actually do that. And we were competing. Like, it's lying if you say you're not competing. We were competing. And he never went back into business again. When prices came down, I put him out of business and he stayed out of business. It was best for him and me too. And everybody else, because he didn't have, he was just doing it for ego or whatever. Other questions?
I don't think so.
I think so.
So then, so I knew that young lady, we were very close friends. And so I knew that young lady was very interested in dating me. Maybe another podcast, I'll explain the science of, I don't think I think it's better if we just keep friends. And so she had her friends really pushing me and saying, Mark, Rosanna, she make a great wife. And so I was definitely on the hunt for a wife. I'm 18 years old. It's like, I want to get that done. Boom, get that done, get married, have an amazing wife, and then get into business. And so I had my life planned out. So I was definitely on the hunt for a wife, but I'm like, not so sure that I thought she was the first. I thought she was the one. First time I saw her, but then yeah, maybe not. And then my brother, his fiance at the time, she was pushing. So she had all of these women pushing me to date Rosanna. And I'm like, no, I don't think so. Don't think I'm not. Yeah, I don't think so. And so she had married, or she had dated this guy, Doug. He was upstairs. He was the roommate of the guy I was competing against. And I'm like, man, I don't think, I mean, he went on to be a pastor. He went on to be a pastor. And so maybe another story about him another time. And these pastors, poor people, poor guys. Anyways, so she had just broken up with him. I didn't know why until later, but she had just broken up. They had just broken up, and we were in a class, a Bible class together, and in the back of the room. And so she's kind of recovering from the breakup. I was, like a guy friend, and she said to me, she says, and he wasn't a terrible guy. I mean, maybe he was. I don't know. It could have been worse, but anyways, I mean, he went on to be a pastor, so how bad could he possibly be, right? Anyways, and so she's talking to me in the class, and she says, Mark, I don't date, I don't date the best guys. And I'm like, yeah. And I didn't think he was her caliber at all. I mean, I could tell she was an amazing woman. Like, holy cow. Like, she deserved a lot better than him. And I, and so she's like, so do you have any suggestions for me? Again, I'm 18 years old, right? So what do I possibly know about this? Like, well, if you all think, man, this guy knows a lot about everything. I wonder when it really kicked in. It probably kicked in at about 3 or 4 years old, I'm guessing. Just saying. Anyways, so I told her, I said, what I would recommend is come up with a list of everything you're looking for in your husband, the dream guy, go down to the details, exactly what you're looking for in the and she's like, okay. So she comes back the next day and she's got a list of, I don't know, 6, 7, 8, 9, something like that. And she goes ahead and she shows it to me. I'm like, okay, this is good. It's a good start. Yeah, no, this is good. So focus on that, and keep an eye out for a guy like that. And again, I knew she was interested in dating me. I was not interested at that point. And she looked at me and she said, so I'm curious, like I gave you my list of what I was looking for in a husband. Like, I think it's fair that you give me your list on what you're looking for in a wife. I'm like, I did not see that coming. I did not see that coming. For me, I love women who have sharp minds. We'll go ahead and talk about a double date, Kenny and Marla and Roseanne and I had, and what Marla did to the three of us. That was classic. Like, that was one of those moments. I'm like, wow, I'm impressed. She's sharp. She's got a sharp mind. Anyways, another story for another time. And so I'm like, I can't believe she just did that. I didn't see that coming at all. And I laughed and I said, sure. It didn't take me a day. I just started writing in class. And at the end of class, I gave her a list. I didn't find out for probably 20 years, 30 years later, where she took that list and she went back to her dorm and cried. Because she said, in her own mind, she said, I'll never, ever be able to live up to this list. So guys, here's a suggestion that's been refined a little bit since, 42 years ago. So if you're not married, create a list of the ideal wife that you're looking for. And it can be superficial stuff too. Like, I don't know, there's something about dark haired women with brown eyes. I don't know what it is, but I've always So it doesn't have to be, but then on the list, so, brunette for me and brown eyes. I don't know what it is about brunette and brown eyes, but there's something there for me. But that's not a deal killer, moral, loyal, hardworking. So what you do is create a list and then maybe star the ones like these are not negotiable. Like if a woman doesn't have this is non-negotiable. These are negotiable. Maybe, it'd be nice if we had these. And so then what you do, guys, is then get in the head, the heart, the soul of that kind of a woman, and then go ahead and write out a list of what she's looking for. Like that woman, think of that woman. Think of that woman. I think what happened with Rosanna, who now she and I have been married for 39 years. Well, I think what happened is when Rosanna went ahead and saw my list, she became that woman. And I fell in love with her. And the things she and I have been through in 39 years, we have over a 85% chance of divorce because of what we've been through. That's another podcast for another time. So the things we've been through, it's been crazy. And she is more attractive now to me than she was back then. And she was hot then. She's hot now. Not only physically, but mentally, emotionally, everything, spiritually, like all of it. So then what you do is, man, you go ahead and set out to be that man and be that man, become the man, and the woman will be drawn to you. She just will. She just will. Women, if you're listening to this, do the same exact thing. You don't have to pursue the guy. I'm not saying you should. Guys, you don't have to pursue the girl. I'm not saying you should. I'm just saying become the man of your dream wife. Become the wife of your dream man. And there's something about the universe. There's something about chemistry. There's something about energy that will draw you to her, will draw him to you. If you have any questions, connect with the individual for sure. Join the podcast or join the don't be a spectator, be a participant. Join the Life GPS, and there's lots of other cool things. Dude, Life GPS could find a spouse for you. I'm serious, and then help you in your marriage in a crazy way. If you have any questions, connect with the individual who invited you to participate in today's session, or you can call toll free 888-230-2300. Outside the U.S. 630-393-9909. And always remember, we can accomplish so much more together than we ever could on our own. Have an amazing day. Bye-bye.